It's the THEMOSHOW Chicago, and we are back again, this time on a super fantastic sunny day. And if this is your first time watching the THEMOSHOW Chicago, I ask that you share the information with relatives, friends, co-workers, anyone that you come into contact with. It is a terrific way to jumpstart your conversation. And today's conversation, before we get started, I want to send a shout out to Urban Grind TV. Brother Harold Monroe, thank you for being a faithful viewer of Mo Powers and the Mo Show Chicago, and it is my wishes that your platform grow as well. Getting to the conversation. Today's conversation is about Judas and the Black Messiah. Has anyone went out to see that movie? If you haven't went out to see that movie, I highly recommend that you do. Now, the brother that played the part of Fred Hampton from Britain, he did a great role, a phenomenal role of Fred Hampton. And it's sad that many people who are coming up in school don't even know about Fred Hampton. They had no idea that he even existed. Why? Because they don't teach you about people like Fred Hampton in school. They teach you about Martin. They teach you about Malcolm. They may give you a little Marcus Garvey. They'll tell you about W.E.B. Du Bois and Benjamin Banneker and things of that nature. But they don't tell you about Huey Newton. They don't tell you about Eldridge Cleaver. They don't tell you about Angelus Davis. They don't tell you about Fred Hampton. They don't tell you about H. Rap Brown. Why? Because these people brought black consciousness and awareness to black people across America. And it is sad that the FBI, the CIA, the government of the U.S., it is sad that they feel that when black people come together in unity, it is a national security threat for their destruction. Well, in the contrary to that, could it be said that the white fibers of America is against black people, saying that white America was rooted and is rooted in racism? I'm just saying. Now, in this movie, you have William O'Neill, the informant guy, who was head of security, minister for security. And sadly, it was he who gave Brother Fred the dose that actually led to him falling off to sleep real bad and they emptying out them shells on him. That is still true today. And if you look at that which took place in the movie, you will see the same thing happening today. Black people betraying one another. Stool pigeon. Paid informant. Happens all the time in every black organization. Not only in this century, but 4,500 years ago as well. Because if you've been keeping up with me in this book entitled The Destruction of Black Civilization, which I've been going through this month, and I will have more videos posted on that book because we're not finished with that. But in that book, you will see the betrayal that goes on. This betrayal took place 4,500 years way before Fred Hampton and the Black Panthers or the Nation of Islam or the Marcus Garvey movement or Noble Drew Ali movement. Before any of those movements were in play, we sold each other out. Not only did we sell each other out in this movie to the CIA and the FBI, we sold out each other to the slave masters. All of us wasn't just gangstered. Some of us was freely sold from our own people, sadly. And it was the same with this guy, William O'Neill. Fred Hampton was a revolutionary, and he sought to bring about a coalition for all of the gangs in Chicago, whether it was black, Hispanic, and even those white gangs. Yeah, the gangs that don't like black people. He even went to those people and started a rainbow coalition way before Jesse Jackson and his rainbow coalition started. They had a coalition going against the police. Now, when the Panthers had went up to the Capitol in Sacramento and they had their rifles and everything, now this here wasn't in the movie. I'm talking about real life now. Now, when they went to the Capitol in Sacramento armed with their rifles, they were considered terrorists. And this is when all of the gunplay gun laws start really coming into play. That's keeping it 100. But not only that, it amazes me how black people can march up to the capital of California, Sacramento, with rifles and are considered a terrorist when you have the white boy bombing churches, killing young black people, women, girls, boys, and he's not considered a terrorist. What do you think about that? In this movie, you will also learn about how nothing has really changed. The same things that the Black Panthers were going through then, black people are still going through today. Now, they were actually talking about opening up medical facilities and schools like that for young black children. Are we still not talking about that today? Are we still not talking about that today? So what does that tell you? That means that we either need to step our game up or shut the fuck up. How about that? We either need to step our game up or shut the fuck up. Because we haven't did anything. And the Panthers, the chapter in Chicago, was disillusioned back in what? 1978? Even with the Nation of Islam. What happened with the schools and everything? What happened to the medical facilities? Ironically, the same problems that the Panthers was going through then, we as black people are going through today. Nothing has absolutely changed. Police brutality to the max. Not only police brutality, but injustices have been going on. Black Panthers talking about opening up the schools and making programs for children. And black people have been talking about that for years. Marcus Garvey tried to start that, and look what they did to him. They destroyed the man and then exiled him back to Jamaica somewhere. All of the other leaders, what did they do? They sold us out. Sold us out if they weren't neutralized. The real leaders are neutralized. All of these people that's out here that proclaim to help black people, no, they're not here to help black people, because black people are not in the political world. You must remember that political power comes through the barrel of a gun. I'm just saying. Black Panther, Judas and the Black Messiah. What's your comments on that? How do you feel about that movie? I mean, the movie was just to the core, plain, to the core. Maybe the other Black Panther movie was better, I believe, whereas they had the other guy that portrayed Huey Newton. Now, when you have a black man that is working to fabricate a white gang who was oppressed by the police as well, because poor white people are oppressed by the police as well. And he was coming to all of them. Anybody that the police was harassing, anybody that the police was terrorizing, anybody that was at the bottom of the ladder. This man, Fred Hampton, by the age of 21, was so dangerous that Edgar Hoover wanted him neutralized. Were you that dangerous in 21? Was your brain the barrel of the gun at the age of 21? Was your spirit the barrel of a gun at the age of 21? Was your dedication and commitment to yourself and to your people that dangerous at the age of 21? Age of 21. And speaking of Fred Hampton, I want to share a true story with you. We were recording a track in the music studio entitled 5 Deadly Venoms. That included Illa, that included J.R. Valentino, that included Rilla, that included Mecca, and that included a Black Panther sister by the name of Conrad Alexia. Now, I don't know what time it was in the afternoon when I dropped Alexandria off on Damon and Tui on the north side of Chicago. She's getting out of my car. Guess who jumps in my car? Fred Hampton Jr. The police just bombed his house. I'm not lying to you. This is like 2002, 2003. Then on another occasion, Robert Money and Kevin, aka Illa, and I was at the west side, was on the west side of Chicago at the restaurant on Madison in California. Guess who shows up? The chairman shows up. Fred Hampton Jr. greeted me in arms. Yeah. And didn't forget that I was the guy who drove him to where he needed to go when the police blew up his house. That's what 100. And that's his son. Anyway, getting to the movie, back to the movie. Let me ask you a question. How many of you all could have done what William O'Neal did in the movie? How many of you all could have sold out Fred Hampton? And for what price? Would it be to get you out of a jail-free card? Would it get you a reduction in sentence? Or would it get you a gas station like it did William O'Neal, who collected over $200,000 from the intel that he gave about the Black Panthers to the FBI? And after they neutralized Fred Hampton, they gave the man a gas station. A gas station. Now, Fred Hampton was murdered in 1969 by the Chicago police. And 21 years later, William O'Neal commits suicide. And Fred was 21 when they assassinated him. So it was just ironic, 21 years and 21 years. But who could live with themselves 21 years for doing that? I know a couple of people can, because there's a couple of people like that that exist today that sold out their people for the benefit of themselves. And that's what it all comes down to. Self. Selfishness. Selfishness. How many of you all could be a Fred Hampton? How many of you all could be a Fred Hampton Jr.? Raise your hand. I'm just saying. Anybody out here who is for the upliftment for black people is a threat to the government, period, especially if you got some money. But black people at the age of 21 who got money, they ain't into Fred Hampton. Nah, they into Drake, you know. They into Lil Boosie. They into Rick Ross. They into King Von. They into FBG Duck. They into Pop Smoke. They into all of these people that does nothing for them. Won't even give them a free concert ticket, but the man gave his life. What greater friend can you have than one who lays down his life for you? But the worst kind of friend is one who does nothing in return for the person who laid down their life for them. What kind of friend are you? Are you a traitor to your own people? Are you working for the ops? Or are you selfish and just working for yourself? Anytime anybody on YouTube get out here and promote some real stuff about unity, about power for the people, not just black people, for the people, you're a national threat. You might get flagged. You got agents that is assigned to you to keep up with your channel. They do reports on who you are, where you at, all type of things. All type of things. But back to the question, would you be that William O'Neal? Would you be that William O'Neal? And like I said, 21 years later, he committed suicide. If I'm not mistaken, he threw himself in front of a car after getting filthy rich. 21 years, Fred Hampton was assassinated, and 21 years later, William O'Neal offed himself. Sadly, he left this person that was driving the car that he threw himself out in front of, he left them with a traumatizing event because they may think they have hit him. They think that he wasn't the cause of his own death when he was. He threw himself right in front of a car. What is the driver to do? Don't feel bad, driver. He should have been assassinated 21 years ago. But how many of you all will turn on your people? Like I said, this has been going on forever. Let me all know in the comment section what you think about the movie The Black Panther. Let me all what do you think about the movie? What do you think about the movie? Let me know in the comment section. And how many of you all could have been William O'Neal? It's your brother, the THEMOSHOW Chicago. Remember, it is your third eye that makes you shine like jewelry, and thanks for viewing. Peace.